morning. I hope everybody's feeling great. As we heard today, Dubai is a great place, so you have to feel great. Dubai is a multinational place like our planet, united by a common destiny, the destiny of our planet. Today we are standing at the beginning of a new era, not only in space, but also a new era of climate changes, which will affect the world for several decades if we cannot avoid the increasing average temperatures. Last year was the hottest in history since weather records started. Large areas in Southern Europe, in the US, Canada, Siberia, India, and even in Canada were burning. Only in India, a total of 345,000 wildfires. In Russia, a total of 40 million hectares burned. That's the size of Germany, and that's every year. Some of the world's even coldest regions have been burning, even through the winter months. This April, has been the hottest in the last 120 years in India, Pakistan, and the Arctic is heating up twice as fast as the rest of the world. The last decade, 2010-2019, was hotter than any other decade in the last 1,300 years. These extreme weather conditions are the main driver of the rising energy demand, an energy which has to come from low carbon sources, otherwise we simply risk to even more accelerate the climate crisis in the coming years. Even if from today all the necessary climate actions would be in place, we would still have for the next decades dramatic weather conditions, flooding, wildfires, droughts. And the longer we wait and the longer we delay climate actions, the harder it will be to reduce climate actions. Last year, we had COP26. A lot of nations, a lot of companies announced huge plans to become net zero within a few years. Unfortunately, not much happened since then. More and more companies and countries are delaying their climate action goals, even though making large publicity announcements on how to be net zero very soon, but not much is following. Kind of hoping that there's still enough time to solve these problems or even just to avoid unpopular political decisions. And despite all these announcements, coal electricity generation reached an all-time high. Only last year, it rose by 9%, the biggest rise since 1985. And according to the United Nations, all the emissions from planned fossil energy infrastructure, which is now in planning, that's already twice the amount which would push the world and the planet over the 1.5 degrees. A heating level that scientists say would bring much more intense heat, storms, fire, and floodings than the present 1.2 degrees. In 2021, the European Union had around 166 gigawatt of solar power. By 2030, it should be 1,000 gigawatt. That's almost impossible if we all only rely on public funding. Public funding will never have enough money to reach these goals. What has to be accelerated is to get private money into sustainability. Sustainability is climate impact is what is now becoming more and more popular for companies and for investment funds. But now also private people want to invest, even if it's just a few dollars, but everybody wants to make his mark in impact investment in climate change. But how to do this? Until recently, small investors never could take part in infrastructure projects. We at Ecowatt, our team has been developing for the last 20 years wind, solar, hydro projects. And earlier we ran always into the problem that our investors were only banks, large investment companies, and large funds. We received several times lots of calls from private people who wanted just to invest a few thousand euros or tens thousands of euros. But that was not possible. What makes it possible today? That's blockchain. Blockchain and cryptocurrency. So with Ecowatt, we have set up 2 years ago this project Ecowatt, a new cryptocurrency which is tokenizing energy. But not only energy, it's tokenizing power plant, renewable power plant capacity. Each token is related to 1 watt of capacity. We will be issuing around 1 billion tokens, which is equivalent to 1 gigawatt. This 1 gigawatt will increase over the next 5 years to approximately 10 gigawatt. 4 gigawatt we have already in planning in most of Eastern Europe and in Africa. One important way not only to invest into sustainability and renewable energy is also the carbon credits. Carbon credits, the system has been set up years ago but never really started work. It just started last year. Beginning last year, the price of a carbon credit was around $5. Today it's 70. Assumptions are that in the next 2, 3, maybe maximum 5 years, the price of a carbon credit will be around $500, maybe even $900. Why? Because there are still not enough carbon avoidance programs. But the demand for carbon credits is increasing and increasing. Today, anybody can become green, even if it's just buying carbon credits. One way to buy carbon credits is buying the Ecowatt token, which is generating carbon credits. So anybody can reduce their carbon footprint and become green by investing into Ecowatt token and carbon credits. But besides renewable energy, that's not enough to reach the sustainability goals for 2030 and for 2050. One of the main and best possibilities for avoidance of carbon is reforestation. Currently, the world has around 31% of the world are forests. But on the other hand, almost every year we are losing 4% of these forests. So it's important not only to build new renewable energy, it's also important to maintain the forests, and not only to maintain, but to reforest. If we are starting to reforest, when forests will produce for the next 30 years, every year carbon credits, and more carbon will be saved and avoided, which is going to the atmosphere. And along with reforestation, one major side effect are the so-called secondary forests, which can absorb even more carbon dioxide than the primary forests, giving hope that the global reforestation effort can absorb even more emissions than previously thought. Reversing the reforestation in the coming decades is one of the most important steps of stabilizing the climate, and the best way is through buying again carbon credits. We at Ecowatt, we have since last year, we have already planted around 150,000 trees. That's around 10,000 carbon credits. We have at the moment around 5 projects only in Africa to plant 10 million trees until 2025, and a UN project in Mongolia to plant around 100 million trees by the end of this decade. So by 2030, we would have hundreds of thousands of carbon credits, which potentially can absorb a lot of carbons. But again, what you have to do for this, you have to mobilize private capital, because public money will never be enough to achieve these goals. And blockchain, token, cryptocurrency, and coming now also NFTs, that's one of the most and fastest way to achieve this. For a green future, we have to use everything available what we have. because we are making great plans until 2030, until 2050. But did you think that 2030 is already in 8 years? 8 years is gone very quickly. And if we are not stepping up today, then we won't have anything in 2030. Any of these big and large climate action plans, it takes about 25 years to have any effect on climate. So even if we start today, we are almost late to achieve anything until 2050, not to speak about 2030. So if we have upstairs stand Ecowatt F1, so I'm looking forward to meet you upstairs. If anybody has more questions, we are more than happy to tell you more. Thank you very much.